Welcome back to the series where I will be teaching you how to start your own robotics team. Please remember that this is based on a combination of my own experiences along with online research. Some of the things I talk about in these videos might not fit your exact situation, so feel free to adapt my advice to suit you. In this video, I'm going to be going into the build subteam. Now, you don't have to divide your team into sub-teams in the same way that I'm describing, but these are still good ideas about the different responsibilities. Before build season. Before build season, your goal is to prepare. Whether you have a designated build team or not, I would recommend having all your team members get some basic build practice in, especially in tool safety. If you've watched the previous video, then hopefully you already have your tools. Make sure every single person knows how to use all the tools safely. Even if they've used a tool before, have them demonstrate it so you know that they are using safely. If you're not experienced with tools, there are tons of tutorials online that you can watch. I have decided to put CAD or computer-aided design together with build. The way that it has worked on both of my previous teams is that most of the build team helps CAD the robot. I'll talk about how that works during build season a little later on. For the purposes of a robotics team, CAD is usually 3D modeling. The most common software I've seen used is SolidWorks or Onshape, but there are other options. In my experience, none of them are way better. It just depends on what computers you have access to, how much you're willing to pay, and what kind of interface you like the best. I only have a base level experience with CAD, so I would honestly advise you to do your own research on which program to use. Some robotics programs will give you access to certain software for free, so keep that in mind when deciding. I'll link Onshape and SolidWorks in the description below. Once you have settled on a CAD program to use, you need to have everyone practice CADing as much as possible. Build season goes by much quicker than you think, and you don't want to be waiting weeks for CAD to be done. You can have them practice CADing a pencil holder, lamp, or even a tennis racket, but it needs to be a bit complicated. You can even have mini competitions to see who can CAD it the best. While your team members are practicing CAD and other various skills, you need to be reading previous year's rule books, learn what rules are consistent year to year, learn about what size the robot is going to be, learn every detail of how competitions go. You want to know what most of the new rulebook is going to say before it even comes out. And most importantly, you want to know when things need to happen. That will save so much time once your build season starts. Your sub-team leader should also read through the rule books. Unless your team is tiny, it isn't usually possible to have everyone be an expert on the rule book, especially in the first year. Make sure you have a few shoe experts who can monitor the others. Build season. Once the game is shown, the first thing your team should do is go over the rule book. You should not take more than an hour or so doing that. If you took my earlier advice, hopefully you have a few people already familiar with the rules. Those people should read through the entire new rulebook in detail. Everyone on the team needs to know about more general rules such as robot size or how you can interact with game pieces. Once you all have a decent grasp of the rules, start designing. Get a whiteboard or some paper and just start throwing ideas out. Take the best couple ideas out of that and do some basic prototyping. You want to get at least a semi-final design as soon as possible, so choose the ones that seems the best and run with it. I know some teams that spend a week or two designing and prototyping, but for a rookie team, I would not recommend. It will always take you longer than you think to build the robot and until you have a better idea of what your team is capable of. I would definitely not take too long on the brainstorming portion. Now it's time to start CADing your robot design. Those of your build team not prototyping or testing electronics should be CADing. You want to get that CAD done ASAP. Once that CAD is done, you need to get building. The first thing you need to build is a basic drivetrain. A drivetrain is essentially just a basic chassis or frame and whatever is moving the robot forwards, wheels, treads, etc. Once you've got the basic body down, you can have your driver or drivers practice on it. Essentially, it's who is going to be actually driving the robot at competitions. You want them to get the most experience possible. Try and schedule a weekly driver practice outside of your team meetings for them to use. From here, you want to make sure that work is properly spread out and that you are keeping to a timeline. Try and plan to finish early so if you hit any setbacks, it won't be as detrimental. Let's take a little time skip here to the end of build season. The robot is done and competition is right around the corner. When packing for competition, take anything you could even possibly need. Make sure you check the rulebook on what is allowed to be brought, but it is always better to bring stuff and not need it than need it and have to send a parent running to go get it. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Created using Powtoon.